purpose of study to encrypt the data into something that cannot be understood by any individual, even system, by applying matrices in the calculation.
Hi, I will explain about cryptography. What is cryptography? Cryptography is the art and science of achieving security by encoding messages to make them unreadable and also secret. Cryptography is also fundamental technology to protect information. Data is encrypted and decrypted using secret keys. Public key cryptography uses a pair of key which is public key and also private key. For an example, our case study we have to encrypt a word of fearless become a new word and also secret that no one can know. This process is systematic and also well structured. Other than that, I will also explain about polygraphic cryptography. What is polygraphic cryptography? Polygraphic is a substitution that involves replacing a group of characters in a message with a group of characters and letters. Block cipher have no limit number of characters in a message. Even though the word is a long word, but it have no limit that we can change in a block cipher.
Assalamualaikum and hi to all of you. My name is Muhammad Akil Aiman and I will be presenting to you guys about private key. Have you guys ever heard about private key? Private key is a cryptography variable that is used in conjunction with an algorithm to encrypt and decrypt data. The security of private keys is dependent on using a strong encryption algorithm and maintaining high levels of operational security. In this cryptography, the sender and receiver needs to share the same key. The private key is used to authorize a transaction and ensures that it cannot be changed once it is broadcast. If the transaction's information is altered, even slightly, the signature will be incorrect because the algorithm generates the same key from identical information. For example, when you log into a website using a username and password, the password is often encrypted using a private key before it is transmitted to the web server. Okay, next, let's move on to the decryption. Decryption is the conversion of encrypted data into its original form. Data may be encrypted to make it difficult for someone to steal the information. Some companies also encrypt data to protect company data and trade secrets. If this data need to be viewable, it may require decryption. This requires inverse of matrix in whole cipher. How does decryption works? The system extracts and converts the garbled data and transforms it into words and images that are easily understandable not only by a reader but also by a system.
Hi, I'm going to present to you about public key. Public key cryptography or asymmetric cryptography is the field of cryptographic system that use pairs of related keys. Each key pair consists of public key and a corresponding private key. I will explain to you about public key while my friends later will explain to you about private key. So key pairs are generated with cryptographic algorithms based on mathematical problems termed one-way functions. So most commonly implementations is used based on RSA data security. Security of public key cryptography depends on keeping the private key secret. The public key can be openly distributed without compromising security. Next, in a public key encryption system, anyone with a public key can encrypt a message yielding a ciphertext, but only those who know the corresponding private key can decrypt the ciphertext to obtain the original message. So basically, it means if I want to send a message to Bob, I need to use Bob public key to encrypt the message. Next, if Bob want to read the message, he need to use his private key to decrypt the message. So basically, that's about public key. And the example that we use public key in real life is like an email. So that's all for public key. Moving on to the next one. For encoding, in the encoding method, data is transformed. from one form to another. The main aim of encoding is to transform data into a form that is readable by most of the system or that can be used by any external process. It cannot be used for securing data because various publicly available algorithms are used for encoding. Encoding is also used for preserve the usability of the data, and no keys are used in encoding. For example, encoding can be used for reducing the size of audio and video files. Each audio and video file format has a corresponding coder-decoder codec program that is used to code it into the appropriate format and then decode it for playback. So that's all for encoding. Moving on to the next one.
Hi, I'm Carrie and I will be defining the meaning of decoding. Decoding is a process that converts an encoded format back into the original sequence of characters. Simply put, it is basically a reverse form of encoding, which was earlier explained by my friend Rona Bihar. Decoding uses a digital analog converter, DAC, when these terms can be applied to any forms of data including text, videos, images, multimedias, and softwares. For example, when you send an email, a DAC will encode the data during the process of sending and will only be decoded back once the data arrives to the receiver so that the receiver gets the message in its original form. Next, moving on to encryption. Encryption is a way of scrambling data so that only authorized parties can understand the information. Basically, encryption is a process of converting human-readable plain text into a incomprehensible text, which is also known as ciphertext in technical terms, which can only be decrypted by the user with the encryption key. Encryption uses a cryptographic key, which is a set of mathematical values that both the sender and recipient of an encrypted message agree on. The above diagram shows a bit of an insight of what encryption does. However, to get a better idea of what it does, let's move on to the next slide where our friend Akilaiman will be explaining furthermore on how we encrypted a message based on a case study that we have conducted.
Hi, I'm going to present to you how to solve our questions. So our question is encrypt the message fearless to ciphertext, which is the word that we cannot understand using Hill cipher. So basically the formula is C1 C2, which is the ciphertext that we need, equal to P1 P2, plain text or key text times with 6, 5, 15, 16, the matrix that has been given, and then mode 26. So basically, based on the table that has been given, the alphabet F and E equal to number of 5 and 4 respectively. So from 5 and 4 matrix, we multiply it with the matrix that has been given, and then mode 26. As you can see on the slide, I have separated the solution. So for C1, for the word F, after we multiply it, we got 90 mode 26. Mode 26 means that we divide it with 26 and then the remainder we take it as a reference for the answer. So we got number of 12 and then we refer it to the table, which is the table state that 12 equal to the alphabet M. Same goes with the C2 for the word E. After we multiply it, we got 89 mode 26 and then we got the remainder as 11, and then based on the table, 11 equal to the alphabet of L. So basically, this is how the encryption works based on the Hill cipher method, and the method is applied same with the rest of the alphabet. So the conclusion for alphabet F and E is equal to the alphabet M and L. So that's how it works for the rest of the alphabet. And that's all from me. Thank you.